So page 159. We left off we're holding bays. We say if the doctor says that he has to eat because the illness may take a turn for the worse, it'll be in danger. He's stocking bays. He doesn't say he may enter into a dangerous state. Yeah, he says, things may turn for the worse. Weren't for the worse, we think about even in danger. Because it becomes a Sofi Pukuach Nefesh. Shomel Merofeg. The Shem who Nivas Veina Magish Bechol Yimachzor Chusha. Sometimes a person can be so weak that the patient doesn't realize how sick he is. So because of the degree of state of illness, he doesn't feel hungry. He doesn't sense his how serious it is. This is interesting. What about if the person he's a doctor himself? Is he in a position to make an evaluation on himself? He says, I don't need it. No, he's not. Because that could be because of the illness. That's the reason why he doesn't sense how serious it is. But this is important. That even if the patient is a doctor and he says, it's not necessary, and another doctor says it is necessary, you listen to the other doctor. It's not because you have two doctors disagreeing. What do you do? If it's the patient is not part of the equation. Because there we're concerned that maybe as a result of the illness, his evaluation of himself evaluation is totally wrong. In terms of, look, not to eat. If the person's ill says, I need it, doctor says he doesn't need it. And even they say, if he eats, it'll be detrimental to him. He says, I have to eat. Maybe you have to tell the patient, like we had earlier, it's Yom Kippur, because maybe he forgot. So you don't have to ask any other questions. Because we say that a person's ill, he understands more than the doctor understands regarding what his needs are. One's heart feels the bitterness of a situation, the direness of a situation. Yeah? The Chula says, I know I need it, but I prefer to be machmir. Is he permitted? He says, I will seek out your blood. That's considered you committing suicide, you're taking your life. You're not permitted to be machmir. If halacha says you must eat, you must eat. You're putting your life in jeopardy. You're not permitted. Sure. Okay, there's a different that's a different evaluation because you're concerned the trauma or the psychological impact. Okay, right. First time, you never know what it can do to a person. Yeah, no question. Yeah, okay. Today you don't have those kind. Today you don't have those kind of people, unfortunately, any longer. Yeah, I understand.
So, is it okay to say you can fast, but if you feel
Yeah. Well, we have to tell them that. No, you can say, but if you feel weak, you tell them you must eat. Because then, you do. Medically, I'm telling you, God forbid, you could die.
I usually, in those situations, get children.
Yeah. If a person eats, he doesn't have to do tshuva. Right? I mean, you're obligated. You can do tshuva on something you're obligated to do. This, of course, you don't need no kapora. Donas rachmana patre. Koskim shlo yirak kechatzi shiro. Especially the kapora lo nemerak al shogeg. That a person needs kaporas on the shogeg. Well, kapora means like a more serious kapora. You know, yet you find, like, you know, a person just came in, is in a concentration camp, and it was known that because they ate, that's why they died. Because their pancreas shut down. They just overtaxed the system. Was the gallbladder? I thought it was the pancreas. Gallbladder. Purposely, that they should eat it. So they should die. They would die. Yep. I thought it was not only fatty food. Any amount. If you eat too much. No, I understand. What about it's not because the body can't produce the insulin? It's too much. I heard it was the pancreas also. Okay. Yeah. Look. No, some say, what about that situation? Odom Yudei Morris Nafsho. The person that feels he needs it. Let's say the doctor, it's irrelevant. You know that's going to cause you death. What, you're going to let the patient? Of course not. Because he said earlier to Mishna Berura, even if the food will be mazik him, the person says, I need it, you give it to him. So there's a difference between mazik and killing him. It's not, it's going to harm him. This will cause him to die, so of course you don't want to permit it. Rofe echrome tzorich. Rofe echrome eino tzorich. Right? Two opinions, disagreement. One says he should eat, one says he should not eat. Machilin also. Of course, you feed him. Safik dorais l'chumra. Safik puach nefesh, right? It's a question. Hagav vodin l'shnaim neged shnaim. What are 2 against 2? Va'afil k'tzosin yosef bikim mik'tzosim. What about if the disagreement is 2 doctors? The doctor says you should not, has a greater expertise. He says k'tzas. They're not comparable. He has greater experience. Even in that situation, he says he should not, and the other doctor says he should. Which doctor do you listen to? He says you still listen to the doctor that you should eat, because it's still a question. K near Ali. There's a famous story from Moshe. He needed a pacemaker. It's his son-in-law, Moshe Tendler. He got the best surgeon to put in the pacemaker. But the best surgeon normally doesn't put in pacemakers. That's like a plumber. No, it turned out he had to replace it. He didn't have experience putting in pacemakers. So, sometimes, he's the expert in the field, the expert. But the one who deals day in and day out, he makes night calls, He's the person, he may be more on target than the greater expert. Yeah. They're not in the field. Base. Rofi echero mitzorech. You go l'chumra. No, you go l'chumra. L'chumra pikuach nefesh l'chumra. That's what he says. Rofi echero mitzorech. Afilu mu'ako ma'isha. Hear this? He says even if it's a non-Jewish doctor versus a Jewish doctor. Na'amonim l'hakish harofi shnei Yisrael she'omer she'eno tzorech. Mishum sofik nefesh l'okil. Because it's sofik pikuach nefesh. That's something else. It's not something called nefesh. There it's the question there you need evidence. So we say there's no evidence. But here we're not dealing with evidence. We don't know what this is. It may be life-threatening. No.
You don't know what the situation is.
So it's not evidence.
One doctor, one doctor.
So okay, so at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, we don't know, is it a life-threatening situation or is it not? So the Torah says when you're in that situation, of course, you definitely, you do what you have to do. V'davki mo'akum boki. Avol she'enu boki enu nema l'hakish Yisrael. That's only if the non-Jew has an expertise in the field. What about if the non-Jew doesn't have an expertise in the field? Then he's not believed, because again, we always need more and not, because it'll affect his reputation as a professional. A non-Jew, in the way he values life, or suspect, especially when it comes to Jewish life, he can't be trusted. But if he's a professional, then why do you trust him? Because it's going to have a negative effect if something should happen on his profession as a professional. So what about the patient? He remains silent. He's saying something interesting. What about if you have a disagreement between two doctors and the patient sides with the doctor who says he does not need it? He doesn't need to eat. He says then you listen to the doctor who says he should not eat. Because it's normally, not because of rope. Normally we say that a person, he can be so not well, he doesn't sense the seriousness of his situation. So that's why he says he doesn't have to eat. But over here, because we have an opinion supporting what he's saying, which is the patient, we don't attribute it to his weakness, but rather, then it becomes like a 2-to-1. And especially we say a person, he would have that sense. Normally he doesn't, because he's not well enough. But over here that I have another opinion supporting that, so then I give value to what he feels. I feel Yosef Bikim, Rotzlom, Shosen, Shnaim Shamu, Enu Tzorech, Yosef Bikim, Flogin, Bechok Mezu, I feel Hochi, Ein Holchem Achreim, Lahachim, Besofkin, the Foshos, we're still not Machmir. Kevish Kabachim, Romrim, Shetzorech Lechul, Gamkim, Bikim, Bechok Mezu, because they also have an expertise. I am Mogar Avrom, Bel Yuraba, Shedatim, Lahoros, Kaposkim, Shesovrim, Sheim Shovin, Biminyon. He says, have Elio Rabba rules that Holchenach HaBekin Muflogim Bechokmi Yuzu Yoser. He argues with the Ramo that if certain doctors have great expertise, even the Chumrah, you go after, the Chumrah means that he should not eat, you go after the greater expert. He says, if the number is equal, then you go after the greater experts. But if the less expert doctors are majority over the others, then you go after the majority. Would you find something similar? This is Beisham Beisila. The Gemara says Beishamai was Harifi. Beisil was the rove. So therefore, what does the Torah say? No, they had more keen minds. They were greater geniuses. So he'd say, what we understand, you don't understand. Nevertheless, but since Beisil was the rove, so meaning there was a difference, but the difference wasn't enough to make the difference. If you pit one against one, so then you go after the one with the greater mind. But if you have majority versus the minority, even though the minority has greater, more keen minds, that difference is not enough to make the difference when you have a majority. That's exactly what we're saying over here. No, I understand that.
In other words, they understood the dimension of the other side. Here you talk about two boys doctors. Right?
No, we're talking even Jews. We're talking about Jews. Yeah, but one doctor versus another, one's slightly more expert than the other. See, they disagree with the Ramah. They say you go after the greater expert. He should not eat. But he says, even the Eliyahu Rabu who disagrees says, but what about if you have a majority of the one with less expertise and they feel he should eat, then you go after the majority. Then, because then it's a suffix. It's a suffix.
I would say even more so, the point of the doctors was the patient's doctor versus the expert. In other words, the expert is...
Doesn't make, here it doesn't make a difference.
He's giving up information. But sometimes the doctor to the patient knows much more about the patient. Even he may be less of an expert, he's more informed. He knows things.
Yeah, but he's machmir. He's machmir. No. Lakula, definitely. Lakula will be made. Well, let's say one of those patients better, he wants to be machmir. In that case, you still listen to the other doctor. As long as there's any element of question, of doubt, you makel. And you say the person should eat. Right. Right. He is mach. He's mach. In Pekuach Nefesh, he's machmer. Exactly. To be continued. She didn't want to, she said, so he said, but she was blind. The woman was blind, so she had no sense of time. So he said, he told her, below shofar early, and say, L'shana Abba Yisrael, she thinks it's after Yom Kippur. She'll eat, so she won't have the trauma, of not eating. So what? It's Pikuach Nefesh. What's the problem? We're not talking about a novice versus an expert.
No, you've got different levels of expertise.
One is slightly greater expert. So therefore we say their role compensates for that slight difference. See, that's the difference. People, they mix it up. We're very makel when it comes to Pikuach Nefesh. We're very machmir to be makel. But if people feel, if he's a doctor, he has a carte blanche, he can do anything he wants. No, I mean, you have to be discerning. People make that mistake. People who are in the field of medicine, they think, I'm a doctor, whatever I have to do, I do. No, it has to have relevance to Pikuach Nefesh. A person goes into the office to see patients. What if he wants to see patients? And on Shabbos, he's a dermatologist, or he's whatever it is. Once in a while, he has a serious situation when he goes in. Doesn't? It has to have the nature of what he deals with is Pikuach Nefesh. Depends what he's admitted for.
It's just that, but it may not be
For that, if it's just like the Chofetz Chaim writes. He writes in one place. He writes that let's say a person, you're running late erev Shabbos, and you can't remain on the road. It's Pikuach Nefesh. He speaks about a person as a wagon driver. So what if he would have left 5 hours earlier, he wouldn't be stuck in the forest. He chose to leave 2 hours before Shabbos. He's going to be in the forest. If he's in the forest, it's Pikuach Nefesh. So of course. But since it's something he could have taken consideration, could have avoided, it's not, he doesn't have being chatos or whatever, but there's a claim against him. Right? It's actually acting irresponsibly regarding Shabbos. So if you have somebody in the hospital there who could call you, that if things become serious, that they need your involvement, that's something else. You don't have to be there. I have to check on him. Why? But you have people there who could check on him, and if things be, and you're not speaking out, you're hours away, you can be there in a short period of time. So then it would not be justified to go into the hospital because you're just checking on patients. That's what he's speaking about. That's what he's speaking about, the Chofetz Chaim. He's not only speaking about the wagon man. Any situation on Shabbos. Good, it's something else. You're an onus. That's onus. Because he took every precaution, and speaking about the person didn't take sufficient.
I had an experience. I left from come back to New York on a Friday morning.
David, you want to hear the story? You could use it. Okay.
Any time to stop. It was not even close. Everything went well. And the plane eventually landed, and it was a glide. So 15 minutes before she So I got into the taxi. I was sitting and looking at my watch. I gave him the extra money, I gave him directions, take it to my home in the note, and I got out of the taxi and I walked. I was on the far side of the driveway. And I knew it would get dark. I would walk through Harlem. I was actually worried. And the thought went through my mind. Is that a condition that's enough for me to stay in the taxi and go home? Because I'm worried about walking down through Harlem, in the darkness. Or should I?
If I would have told the cab driver to take you beyond Harlem, get out of the cab after Harlem, and walk from that point onwards.
So I went the other way. I said, I'm doing a mitzvah L'Shem Shamayim. I'm getting out. Hashem takes me. And I'm here to tell the story.
Baruch Hashem.
No, I mean, it's over the bridge. I mean,
the highway itself, there's no sidewalk.
it's right on it. I mean, you can't see it because it's a fence, a barrier.
Right.
On the highway, So it was all the way from 128th Street to 135th Street, all the way down. So that's what I heard. It took me about 3.5 hours to walk.
If you would have had children in the car, there's no question. You would stay in the car. Person traveling with a family, no question. What you're going to leave the children, send them with a cab driver? You can't trust anybody today.
But that's all under the umbrella
Of pikuach nefesh. That's pikuach nefesh.
Although right now there's nothing. At this moment. and
Doesn't make a
every
difference.
moment,
Every month, you never know. You never know.
You never know.
I would have been Mako. I would have ruled leniently.
As Rabbi, as you always said, it doesn't take a genius to be master in these cases, but it takes a real wonder.
The Gemara says, we had the Gemara in Psochim. The Gemara says Psochim that although we say shluch mitzvah nizokin, but if it's shchicha zeko, but if it's prevalent, it's not simple that you're not going to be harmed. The mitzvah is not going to protect you. The Gemara says. So what's the? Yeah, I mean you're putting yourself. You have to be lucky not to be, God forbid, mugged. So you take a chance. A mitzvah, not simple. It's a famous story with the Chofetz Chaim. The Chofetz Chaim. It was during the war. And it was known that Jews who traveled during the war on the train, very often, they would, sometimes hooligans would get on the train, they would beat up the Jews. Even though they weren't Nazis, the Poles, whatever it would be. But it's still safer than being out in the field, because if they would catch you in the field, you were really in danger. Unless you had a tremendous number of people. So the Chofetz Chaim, they were traveling deeper into Russia, and they were in wagons, and they said to the Chofetz Chaim he should get on the train, not be on the wagon. Chofetz Chaim, they went, says he's not getting on the train. He's not getting on the train. They said, it's pikuach nefesh. Pikuach nefesh. He's not getting on the, so he says, I'm not getting on. And he directed the wagons they should go into the forest, and they'll camp in the forest. A few wagons. And said he asked the Chofetz Chaim, but it's pikuach nefesh. Staying in the forest with whatever they are, Russians, Poles, whatever they are, they'll find you, they will kill you. So he says, why am I getting on the train? Because if I get on the train, what are people going to say? People are going to say the Chofetz Chaim violated Shabbos, so that will be an opening that other people should take Shabbos lightly. And he will be the cause that other Jews should be Mechal Shabbos. Therefore, he's not getting on the train. Hashem will protect him. He won't be found in the forest. So what happened? It came Motzei Shabbos. They sent out search parties to look for the Chofetz Chaim's group. They couldn't find him. So they thought, God forbid, who knows what happened? He had a shmirah. They found him. He had a phenomenal Shabbos in the forest, and that was it. But over there, the cheshbon was, his calculation was, the halacha is, there's a question, if a person is not permitted to give his life, and a person is a chosid, and his giving his life will be a Kiddush Hashem, is he permitted to give his life? So the Rambam says you're not permitted. All the other Rishonim say you're permitted. So the Chofetz Chaim, being the chosid, and it could be taken wrongly, right? People will say you're permitted to violate the Shabbos for any slight reason, so that's the reason why the Chofetz Chaim says, even if I die, it doesn't make a difference. That was the Chofetz Chaim.